taking a little tour around his farm today.
Yeah.
He planted a bunch of CRP this year. He actually got his in a little bit sooner than we got the switchgrass in at the Scratch 80. But he's had to manage it just a little bit different than what we were used to. So we're going to show you a little bit of that.
Yeah. Got a good spot.
Right now.
Bare spot.
Yeah.
Over 50 acres, and I think I got it in June 4th. And it sat on the ground for probably 10 days without the rain, so it made me pretty nervous. But then we got plenty of rain, and it's starting to explode now. I just got to keep it mowed. I've mowed it twice already. There's probably going to be a third mowing and possibly a fourth. We'll see. I think there's 8 different species in that mix I put on. It was CP4D, and then there was the variety that had switch, Indian grass, big blue. So you had your big 3, and then there's probably 5 different forbs. The one that's obvious that I can see everywhere is this Illinois bundleflower, which is this plant right here. It's kind of a ferny looking plant. It looks very similar to partridge pea, but it's not. It's super hard to prevent a lot of these unwanted weeds to come up, because I went straight no-till. It was beans last year, soybeans. So we air seeded it right into the bean stubble, and I'd sprayed it twice prior, and I'm still fighting the weeds. But it's just been a great growing year. It's growing season for everything, and I'll mow it hard. I'll burn a bunch of diesel the first year, and then after year 1, hopefully I'll never have to get the batwing mower out here again, which is fine. So I've been mowing it at, I think, around 10 or 12 inches. It's almost as high as my mower will go. But like, this is a prime example. If I didn't mow this, I mowed it twice. If I didn't mow this water hemp would be this tall, and then this water hemp would be this tall, and it would literally be shading out everything that's good, which is, you know, switch, bundleflower. We just picked out some blue stem back there. There's Indian grass in here. This stuff would have been suppressed if you don't mow it. So I took and we cleared off this whole south-facing slope here. You can see the pile of cedars we plucked out of the ground. I didn't flush cut this side here. I actually hired somebody to come in and pluck them out of the ground just to speed up the process. Anytime you cut them and lay them over, you got to wait a couple years before you can run a fire through them and burn. But this is a perfect example of what you can turn in a south-facing hillside. Remove your cedars, and you can turn a south-facing hillside into some good stuff. I came in here and spread a pound per acre of switchgrass, and then there's also some other native stuff popping up. But you guys had a good episode on, I think it was in Nebraska, about these solid stands of cedar, and you know, I guess the myth behind a cedar thicket. What I'm doing, I'm just chipping away at these south-facing slopes that have eastern red cedar. So this is a prime example, and we've got some. And this was frost seeded. Actually, it wasn't frost seeded at all. It was just seeded. This was seeded in May, I believe, maybe late May, middle May. 1 pound per acre. You know, your imagination's got to run wild, and you got to think year 2, head high, and then after year 2 and 3, hopefully it's 7-8 feet tall, and then, you know, not just a monoculture of this stuff, but diversity. So to where you've got cover for wildlife, but then you've also got spots where there's still a ton of browse on the ground. You know, so a deer can lay in here or just mingle in here and be completely satisfied. I was just thinking, my wife and I, we purchased this farm in 2016. So this will be year number 6 for any kind of improvements, or the 6th hunting season. and it's been great thus far, but I am continuing to try and make it better and better. And how do I do that? Well, the hard part was realizing I had a lot of chainsawing to do, and most of it would be because of all the eastern red cedar encroachment on the farm. This was a prime example of a place that even 2 years ago, if you wanted to hunt this hidden little plot here, it literally went from hardwoods to eastern red cedar to a little bit of clover to hardwoods, and then even a little bit mixed eastern red cedar. So it was super hard. You know, it was a stagnant area. You know, the wind was always weird. The deer would come out of the cedars and they'd come out in the clover, and then they'd go back in the cedars, and it was just really hard to see much consistent movement. You were just always on your toes. So one thing I've done over the last 2-3 years is remove these eastern red cedars. Now, I cut this patch 2 years ago. I let the eastern red cedar, the ones I cut, I let them lay for a year, and then I ran a fire through here, and I didn't do anything else. And just what has came up over the last year is incredible. I mean, you got birds, bees, a ton of browse in here. You've still got the skeletons of the eastern red cedar, which aren't that attractive now, but over time those will go away. But those skeletons are protecting some of the browse, and they're also giving shelter for, I'm sure, a ton of different birds and small game. I see rabbits back here now. And you know there's deer bedding in here all the time. So, and then also, well, I can just hear all the bugs, and I mean, it's just a constant buzz with bees, and there's butterflies flying everywhere. I never thought I'd appreciate that until I owned a farm, but it's just, and then there's a little bit more air movement in here, and it's just a great a kind of an edge feathering effect, where now it's going from hardwoods, and then it steps down into these native flowers and forbs and grasses. So now if I'm hunting here, I should be able to see the deer movement prior to when they pop out into the clover. So it gives you a little bit more time to prepare. I can see that edge being worked up by scrapes. I can see them feeling way more safe to browse out in this stuff and then come out in your clover earlier. It's just kind of a no-brainer. And I've seen a way more turkey activity in this area than I ever have because I removed all the eastern red cedar.